morning, everybody. We're going to call the meeting to order. If everybody could please stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Here.
Smith?
Here.
Stevenson?
Here.
Okay, we are going to add to the agenda. After the agenda item, we are going to discuss new business. Regarding the minutes from the last meeting of October 15th, Mike sent out an email with a lot of concerns and changes and that he would like, and I just got the email about an hour ago, so I need a little more time. I would like to motion to table the approval of the minutes until our next school board meeting, so that I can look over Mike's concerns and review the minutes and see how we can make this work. Do I have a motion?
Motion to table.
Second?
Second.
Anybody opposed? Also, Mike, if I could please, your email has a lot of information. Would you mind if you could specifically tell me what corrections or additions you'd like to see? Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like specifically, and then that way I can see, oh, okay, we can add this here, we can put this here, and just to clarify, it was a lot of information, and so just, specifically what changes or corrections or additions you'd like to see. I would really appreciate it.
Just write a straight up block.
Right, I would like to see this added, I would like to see this corrected, I would like to see this removed, whatever your concerns are, that way I know exactly where you stand. Okay? Thank you. All right, our agenda item for today is the dress code. We are here to discuss putting together a working committee who will be in charge of this issue. Today, we will only vote on the school board member that is going to be part of this committee. That school board member will be a facilitator for this working committee. They will meet with a principal and parents and children, whoever they decide. It's between the elected school board member and the principal, and the superintendent, to decide how this working committee will be put together. So do I have a volunteer out of the school board who would like to head up this committee? All right.
Mr. Stevens.
So Mr. Stevenson, you're it. Okay. So I motion to approve Mr. Stevenson as the school board member in charge of the working committee for the dress code. All in favor? Congratulations. Mr. Stevenson, you will need to get in touch with the superintendent, and you and him will see the principal, who will be also in your committee, the parents, and the children involved. It will be up to you and the superintendent to decide that. Before we get to public participation, I want to just reiterate and kind of remind the school board that we are a volunteer school board. For most of us, this is the first time on a school board. So we do not make any decisions as a school board. We are not paid by the DM. We advise the superintendent as to what we think, what we hear from the community. That's it. We just advise. We make no decisions. In that same vein, I would like to ask the school board members with emails, when they come and go, or between us and the superintendent and Ms. Leathers and anybody else to do with the school board, please be careful with your tone. We are all doing the best that we can. This position holds a learning curve for most of us. You've never been in this type of position. It's very important to ask questions. I appreciate the questions. I appreciate the changes wanting to be made. But please do so in a respectful and kind way. There's no need to add legalities to emails. There's no need to, this is not a trial. We're not a jury. We're just trying to do the best that we can for Knox schools and for the children. And I am so sorry, I forgot to mention, thank you, Dr. Malin, for being here. I am so sorry, Dr. Calvano couldn't be here today. And I really want to thank Dr. Malin for stepping in his place. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And if I may, on what
Yes.
you just said, just as a reminder, when you are writing about board business, before you hit the send button, check, just double check to make sure that you're not forwarding on something that you didn't intend to forward. And as we work through these things, sometimes you get the long trail and you might be sending some things that you didn't intend to. So I just remind you all to double check that long email trail that sometimes gets created to make sure you're sending off exactly what you want to say.
Do the school board members have anything else to discuss regarding the dress code or agenda item for today?
I do. I have some questions, actually. Because I was under the impression that we were going to discuss the working committee in total, so that decisions when we left here today, we would basically have an idea what the composition of the working group would be and what kind of a timeline we can expect for them to have a proposal to the superintendent.
The composition would be the superintendent, a principal from one of our schools, and those two people, the superintendent and the principal, will decide how many parents, how they would like to reach out to the parents who would like to be involved with this committee. It's up to them, not me or the school, or this school board. And what
Have you
students.
decided that?
I thought we were all in agreement that this is, we're going to set up a working committee to address the dress code.
I'm confused. I mean, I thought the whole point of coming here today was to establish those parameters.
No. I'm
That's
sorry,
not
I
your
thought,
intent?
no.
So
No,
your
my,
intent is to, two people will make this decision basically without any participation from the board?
well, that's why we have a school board member to represent us. We have a school board member that will be as a facilitator in this committee, but it's up to the superintendent and the principal as to how they reach out to parents and children. We cannot reach out to parents and children.
Eric, let me kind of answer the question, I think what the question is. We elected, well, I got elected to represent the school board. The intent would be that we pull stakeholders from each, parents, students, the administration, both school and here, to figure out what that representation is. I think we're in agreement with that, correct?
Yes. I thought we were going to discuss that today.
We could, though, it might be time consuming to discuss some of that. I would ask that you guys, since you voted for me, that you have faith that
Yes.
I understand y'all's kind of intent behind where we're going with this, and that I execute that to the best of my ability. So, understanding those stakeholders, exactly what that looks like, I don't know yet. The other piece is with respect to the timeline. We threw out last meeting, and we discussed briefly timeline sooner better than later. And that looks like, since we have no meeting in December, that the first regular meeting of January. However, if this working group comes up with a kind of solid recommendation and it comes back to the board, we're all happy with it, that it could go forward sooner, but definitely no later than the first regular meeting in January. I think offline and online now that we think that kind of makes sense. Go ahead, Eric.
Well, let me explain what I'm trying to accomplish here, because I think there's a little bit of confusion. What I would like to do is, I would like to create some transparency on this board. In other words, these good folks have showed up today, and they took their time to come out here and kind of hear what's going on. I don't want them to leave here today without knowing exactly what is going to happen with regard to the dress code. So we've kind of glossed over a lot of issues that I think need to be talked about out loud and in public, so that when our community leaves here today, they understand where we're going and what we're trying to accomplish. So to to me, it's not enough to just say, well, we're gonna put a school board member together with the superintendent and they're gonna figure it out, because that doesn't really answer a lot of questions. And it doesn't really create a sense of transparency for people to understand what's going to happen, because now we have this situation where we know we're gonna send Jim forward, he's gonna meet with Dr. Calvano. We know nothing beyond that. We have no sense of a timeline. We have no sense of how the board will be composed. And I think these are important issues that the community needs to know about and they need to hear about. And as a school board, we're elected by these folks and we're here to represent their interests. I believe we need to have that discussion in front of them. And this doesn't need to happen behind some kind of shroud of, well, we put people against it.
So let me ask this question. I understand your concerns. Specifically, what parts of the process are open in this forum versus once we decide the representation? As part of that process, when that representative stakeholders are having a meeting, is that also going to be in a public forum like this?
When the working group actually meets, I don't know. And that's probably something we need to talk about. And that's, you're kind of making my point on that. So, I kind of came here in mind thinking that we would probably discuss the composition of the board, at least have a discussion about what our expectation is so that Jim can take that forward.
Well, I think you're clear, correct? I mean, on where we stand on how we want to.
Not at all.
I don't think I'm alone in the fact that it's not clear.
Here's what I would throw out. May make all the folks discuss it for a reasonable amount of time. Is what I think we can't afford as a body to get distracted from other business for the next half hour. So a reasonable time frame, and I'll refer you guys to decide what that is, the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes, to lay out specific points that I need to take forward and consider. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with input from everybody. But my recommendations have always been down the line of, let's not let it devolve into an emotional argument that keeps us from going forward and getting a product in front of the superintendent, which has been for the last, since last spring, our process. It doesn't work. So I'm trying to get it into a way that works. But I'm open for.
And my intent is not to create an emotional debate in here. My intent is just to outline, so everyone has a sense of how we're going to move forward with this. And I think, it's inadequate to say we're going to put you and Dr. Calvano together and y'all will figure it out.
Well, that's not what I said.
Okay.
I thought it was pretty clear. We will have public participation if that's what you would like for the next 10 minutes or so. So that Mr. Stevenson can write down some of the concerns that we can take to the committee. But I thought as the school board, this is where I'm confused, I thought we were all in agreement that a committee needed to be put together
Absolutely.
with representation from everybody. And that's what we're going to have. It's not going to be the superintendent and the principal making the decisions.
But if I heard you correctly, maybe I misunderstood you. I thought you said the rest of the board members would have no part of that. It would just be Mr. Stevenson would go up to
Well,
Dr.
yes,
Calvano.
he's heading the committee, and he is speaking for us. I mean, I thought,
Okay, I'll speak now for you. In an effort to move forward, Eric, your first point is that we're going to discuss.
My first point is what is the composition of this working group?
Okay, I would throw it out, again, as we identify the stakeholders, I have to get a little more educated as far as, let's say, for example, if we're going to bring a high school student in, the high school has a student body that was elected by them to represent them. First place I would look is either a representative out of the student body, or if they get to go, their representative that would be on the board. That's kind of the methodology and ways I look at things. I need to get educated on who represents the teachers, who represents the administration, and then I represent the board and go from that. So if you want to have a discussion on.
Yeah, I think, we just need to talk about, in general terms, we're looking at representation from the faculty, the staff members in both the middle school and the high school. I'd like to see some representation from the parents from both middle school and high school, and obviously the students. And then also there needs to be both male and female genders represented. However you guys figure that out, because there are different clothing considerations based on whether you're male or female. So I think those opinions need to be brought into the discussion as well. So, I want to make sure we're all on the same page as you move forward.
Let me throw this out. Recommendation to select a parent methodology.
How we go about getting a parent? Well, I mean, I'm open to discussion on that. I mean, I think, we could ask for volunteers. We could also look to the PTO potentially for some help there as far as identifying a parent. The PTOs have been pretty good at representing parents' interests, so that's a possibility as well. But I'm always open for ideas.
Well, I do think we need to open it up to all parents, not just, you see what I'm saying? I don't want
understand
to.
what you're saying. I hope you're saying in an open forum and not
No.
40 parents. That would,
Oh, no.
that would become an unworkable process.
No. For a parent to volunteer to be a part of this committee, or parents, however many you decide, with the principal and with the superintendent, however many parents you want to see from each school, and then put it out there. But I think we need to reach a wider net of parents, and I think that would be part of your discussion with the superintendent and the principals of the school, how best to reach the greatest number of parents.
Oh, I agree.
I agree with that. A survey would work well.
As it becomes.
I would say for a parent, the parent needs to have prior participation in a volunteer mode for either high school or other year in high school. Can't just tie it to just the dress code. I think we're here discussing the dress code issue, and it's got to have a bigger purpose than just what you wear to school. So is it a distraction from the classroom? No. So it should be someone just focused on the dress code, and that's it.
I think is what you're saying, start with the issue. The issue is not the item of clothing. The issue is how it doesn't support the goals of the dress code.
I agree with that. And the only other thing is, we talked about student representation, and I think the student council is a good way to go with that one for both schools. And then, as far as timeline goes, I agree that we should set a target of the 21 January meeting as having a proposal prepared. Anyone have any issues with that? And then if the working group is able to come up with a proposal sooner than that, we should not be opposed to calling a special meeting in order to have it heard. Anyone have any issues with that? So that if we get it done earlier, we can knock it out earlier. Anybody else?
Okay, any further discussion on the dress code? Okay, we'll open it up to public participation. Please be advised you have 3 minutes.
I'm Laurel Dawson. I'm president of the Fort Knox Education Association. I'd like to go on record as requesting that my organization be represented on this board. The superintendent and the principal is certainly able to pick other high school and middle school teachers, but I would like my organization represented. I do have a document for you that I will give to each one of you today. It is a compilation of what my organization has done in the last couple of years on dress code. The top page is not identified, but it simply has up-to-date comments in the last week that have come into me, and I've put them on paper. Behind it is a survey that my organization did first in May of 2011 and then updated in February of 2012, asking 3 particular questions of both high school and middle school staff members about the dress code. And then the final document is what we were given as a revised dress code in 2012. And of course, as I don't need to tell you, it in and of itself is not, that's the reason we're here, because it's not satisfactory. So just as a little history and a little information, I'm just going to pass that out to you. I'm going to sit back down. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Mary McKern, and I have something that's a little off topic, but it is about the times of these meetings. These meetings are held at 11 o'clock and at 1:30, and I don't think that the people sitting here are a fair representation of the parents who care about this. This is limiting. You are eliminating dual-income households and households that have, like me, have someone in school. So this is really limiting. That goes to all school board meetings and special meetings, that you take into consideration the actual community that you represent. Because this is not representative of the parents. And limiting it to people that are active in the PTO, those meetings are also held in the middle of the day, eliminating a good population of parents. and we do care. But I bet there's people in this audience that have taken sick days, that have taken time away from their work schedules to come here and address it because these meetings are not accommodating for us. Thank you.